Unit 207 is already trying to criminally and illegally tamper with the preceding live stream. They're also participating in numerous hacks right now, concurrent to attempt to prevent the ability for anyone to be able to see the preceding live stream and for me to be able to launch any future live streams. They're busy little bees. A couple of women upstairs and a dude are responsible. It is 8:34 a.m. PST. This is a consensual recording of Mystic Gwen on 2/14/2025. We do have some things to go over, most notably the police report from yesterday / addendum from yesterday that is legally required to be submitted in each and every case with my name on it. There is no legitimate operation, nor has there ever been. There is indeed an aggravated criminal conspiracy and a domestic terrorist organization that has members from the North Everett Precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, DCYF, every individual in Unit 207 at this very moment in time at 8:35 a.m. PST on February 14th. Nerd Squad, be advised that Unit 207 has once again made it so not reflecting viewership because of Unit 207's criminality. There is no other reasoning for that. I am able to visually see this in a separate tab, Nerd Squad, a separate tab within this laptop's window. And Unit 207, again, as I stated, is attempting already to criminally and illegally end this live stream and tamper with the preceding one. They're doing the same thing on the Lenovo ThinkPad concurrent with doing it on this Chromebook. I'm waiting for everything to load up before I bother to even start talking to see if it's even functioning, since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists upstairs attempting to circumvent that. Since there are domestic terrorists Again, Nerd Squad, they're preventing any views from being visible on this video at 8:36 a.m. Any views from being visible on this video. And again, actively attempting to terminate it. And again, actively attempting to terminate it. I'm clicking on the live stream section of the channel. I'm clicking on the live stream section of the channel. Clicking on the live stream section of the channel. And now I am flipping this laptop to show the Lenovo ThinkPad. Flipping this laptop to show the Lenovo ThinkPad. On the right here, you see a video that's been recording offline for 12 hours and 43 minutes and 36 seconds. Like all of the others you've seen, when I close it, if their pattern of criminality persists, they will make this invisible. They'll change the file type, then they'll convert it to the appropriate file type so I can maybe upload it to my drive. So let's see. Stop. Okay, 12/13/1953. This is the MP4 and the only version that should be here. Yep. Can't open the file. Oh, but you can. Oh, and they've also criminally and illegally done something to this tab. Open new file. Same thing we've had to do over and over. This is how they've prevented me from uploading podcast episodes, according to the FBI. These illegal conversions of the file format. Okay, now opening up the email account. Again, the new email account that had to be created because of their domestic terrorist organizations, criminal activities over the last 72 hours. So I've already been emailing this to the real Mystic Gwen, as well as mysticgwen333@yahoo.com, which is not an account that I use for correspondence, except for during the last couple of months of being illegally detained because of Unit 207 and their crimes. So replying to all, the video that you just watched me end on here, that one that's almost 13 hours. This is it right here. Oh, nope, they've still tampered with it as they did with the other ones. I thought since we could see it here that they didn't erase it already. But again, they've been fixing this and then making the video magically show up. This is the recording of the police report that's only 30-something minutes long. See, that's not the one we need. We need the one you just visually saw me end, that Unit 207 is tampering with at this very moment. They're domestic terrorists upstairs, the men and women up there that are also attempting to criminally and illegally end this live stream and tamper with the preceding live stream are responsible. Okay, this is the same title, but a different file type. Okay, so they're allowing this one apparently to attach. This isn't a file that I've ever attempted to open. This file type that they've changed this to, this C afterwards, the FBI says that it is 100% the female federal felon upstairs that I call Mini-Me, who's going to prison for significantly longer than others. Well, that may have changed with the last 72 hours. She's the one responsible for this. She's changed this file type to this so that it can't be uploaded to any podcast. That's why you haven't seen an update since December 14th. A CRSWAP file. She is one of the top tiers of the domestic terrorist organization, like in the top 5 people that the FBI is putting in prison. They've said about her explicitly that she's responsible for many people going to prison, her and Mrs. 80 plus years, the lady that I refer to her being Mini-Me too. Okay, so now that we know it's the CR whatever file that they're allowing to function, we'll click back on camera. Oh no. The CR file has disappeared, and the file I've been trying to send, an MPEG, an MP4, is now here in 3.3 gigabytes. So we'll X out of this. We'll cancel this. Nobody wants that corrupted video that she hacked and fucked with, except for her domestic terrorist organization. We'll click on the appropriate video. We'll click open. That's only 3.3 Gs, and it's an actual video format that can be opened. So while that's uploading, I have to wait to erase it. But I am going to initiate the camera on here because we need a constant recording due to their domestic terrorist organization. And the fact that so many of them are in what the FBI has literally had me put in the legal filings. Say it with me. A downward cycle heading towards full accountability under the law. A quote, cycle of subterfuge. Okay. This is the commencement of the Lenovo ThinkPad recording on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025 at 8:42 a.m. PST. This recording has been tested and can record for up to 30 hours. It won't be recording for that long, but it will be recording for a minimum of 12 hours. And what are we going to do next? There was something else I was supposed to do while I was on here and holding this up, but I don't recall. Oh, yes, I do. We are going to go to the live stream channel of mine and click on the preceding live stream, which appeared to record on my end from 1:33 until 8:30 a.m. when I ended it. But we need to click on it and make sure they didn't erase it or end it at a different time because I was unable to view it at all. That's why I ended it. And if it doesn't run for the full length, see, it shows you here, this video that preceded the one you're watching, 2:14, 1:33 a.m. at midnight, Unit 207 plan break-in. NEP Prosecutor et al. Exposed prison millions ASAP. Shows it ran for 6 hours. in 16 minutes and 52 seconds. Let's see how long it says when we open it up because of Unit 207. Oh, amazing. The full recording is here. So I guess I'll have to add a thumbnail to that. Let's go to the end and make sure that you hear me say the end time. Fast forward a little bit because the end time will be like in the last minute. 6:12, 6:13. Okay, let's hear if we hear me say the end time. This is the last minute. Again, here's the date. It's 8:44 a.m. Friday, February 14th, 2025. Again, it shows that the recording went for 6 hours, 16 minutes, and 51 seconds. And it shows that Unit 207 hasn't committed any further crimes with that live stream, at least as of this very moment in time. They're actively attempting to terminate the live stream that you are watching, and they are actively attempting to prevent me from initiating any future live streams to perpetrate some more of their domestic terrorist acts. I don't hear anything. 6 hours and 15 minutes and 48 seconds in. Oh, I don't think I did end it because the laptop isn't facing me yet, and I definitely was facing me. I'm bad at math too. 6:16, 7:33. Oh, yeah, they criminally and illegally shut off the live stream. They did. Yeah, so we won't be adding a thumbnail to that one. They're actively upstairs trying to prevent the initiation of any future live streams and to tamper with evidence with their domestic terrorist organization, knowing they have no immunity, that they're not part of a legal and legitimate operation, and that for the one woman upstairs who's been doing these crimes since March 2023, she is absolutely securing even lengthier prison sentences than what she was originally looking at, particularly because of her criminal activity with my live streams for the last 3 days. Again, they are attempting to prevent all future live streams. They've criminally and illegally, at a rate of $10 million a pop, done that to over 50-something live streams since February 11th. Live streams since February 11th. That includes and predates my latest police report / addendum, which the FBI has said, if it's not been handed to every judge and filed in every case, carries serious felonies for all of you. Serious felonies for all of you. Within your domestic terrorist organization. Within your domestic terrorist organization. Within your... So again, if you do not hear an oral statement telling you the commencement of a new live stream is occurring within 90 seconds and giving you an end time, as you just saw yourself with the preceding live stream, I didn't end it. Unit 207 did. My front door is locked and has nails in it, as it has since they facilitated the breaking and entering with the abused disabled minors they've been abusing for 13 months and are going to be convicted for multiple kidnappings of, that they made actionable, including the woman upstairs that I call Mini-Me, and the woman she calls at 1 a.m. to get instructions to criminally and illegally shut off these live streams in an attempt to cover their own asses. Keep in mind, these same participants of the domestic terrorist organization, they don't care about others. They've literally sent 48 individuals to my door knowing that those 48 people, would go to prison and be ordered to pay me. And many of them are poor. So the FBI is thinking that she did it just to be selfish and reduce her own liability. As I was stating previously, earlier as well, they're preventing the Spotify from functioning, Nerd Squad. This was an issue as well that I stated in the prior live stream. Perhaps they'll fix it right now. Again, it is now 8:48 a.m. PST. And my door has been closed since January 2nd. The only exception being what? That's right. When the domestic terrorist organization and aggravated criminal conspiracy utilized the 2 disabled minors they've been abusing for 13 months straight, that they facilitated the kidnapping of, and that they are going to be convicted for abusing, endangering, and kidnapping alongside their domestic terrorism charges, of which, according to the FBI, there are many, many counts. So again, Nerd Squad, just to be further criminals, they're preventing me from playing any podcasts. Here, let's try typing in anything, since it's pretending like it's mandatory that I suddenly utilize the search bar within Spotify. Oh, well, that apparently made it so that I can play something, maybe? Nope, still can't play this one.
They should have warned us.
Okay, so apparently I just had to enter something in the search bar, something I've never had to do in the long, long period of time that I've been a Spotify user. Why? Because of the domestic terrorist organization upstairs that is full of people that will soon be saying, I used to be an officer, and then I stalked, stole from, abused children, kidnapped children, and perpetrated so many frauds and criminal actions without immunity and zero legal pretext, pretending to be part of a legitimate operation, when in fact the entire time I was part of an aggravated criminal conspiracy and a domestic terrorist organization financed by the city of Everett, which in of itself is going to lead to a lot of people being arrested. Remember, the willingness of this specific domestic terrorist organization to corrupt other institutions, per the FBI, is mafia level. Racketeering is on each and every indictment that's going out, and so are RICO charges. RICO charges. RICO charges.
Phones or a tornado siren or something. It's going to be fine.
The voice overhead rang out again through the store.
Do not stay out in your room. Do not make yourself visible. That includes security cameras. Please move to a spot that is not visible to any cameras.
What does that have to do with tornadoes?
Okay, let's switch podcasts. I'm not in the mood for a scary story podcast. BBC, the documentary. I am going to...
This BBC podcast is supported by ads outside the UK.
Put in the description everything that was in the preceding live stream's description, and add that they criminally and illegally shut off the live stream. Remember, they're actively attempting to cut off this live stream and to prevent the initiation of any further, to hide their within their 100% non-immune officers that will be dying in the symbolic exodus of the North Everett precinct that the FBI has been telling you guys about since August, and attempting to perpetrate some of their remaining felonies, most notably a third breaking and entering, and an attempted kidnapping and or unlawful arrest and or unlawful committal of me. There is no immunity for anybody who tampers with evidence or obstructs justice. If you blew the whistle and you've been involved in the last 3 days, even if you hit their deadlines, you're not going to get immunity. All right, so I'm adding in the description everything that was in the preceding live stream, and then at 8:52 a.m., adding UNIT207 ended prior live is actively using 3 domestic terrorists within their organization, 3 domestic terrorists, soon to be detained, to end this live, as they have been doing nonstop for 3 days to obstruct, tamper, intimidate an FBI informant of their domestic terrorist organization.
This is the oldest scroll. Last one covered with a padlock at the back of the center. And what we can see is two velvet sides of the scroll. This side, it's very vellum.
Let me read that back. 214, 8:52 a.m. Unit 207 ended prior. Live is actively using three terrorists soon to be detained to end this live, as they have been doing nonstop for 3 days, to obstruct, tamper, intimidate an FBI informant of their domestic terrorist organization and shield their domestic terrorism, criminal conduct. Oh, one of the domestic terrorists is going to the North Everett precinct at 8:55 a.m. We'll add that to 8:55 a.m. One domestic terrorist
It's called Hackle and it's a lament or mourning prayer for the dead. Look up on the
left Unit 207 to go to the other domestic terrorist base of operations, i.e. the North Everett precinct.
Hackle comes from the Arabic word hak or truth. Some amongst them, Jews and Muslims of Bukhara.
Okay, let's read it back. 214, 8:52 a.m. Unit 207 ended prior. Live is actively using three domestic terrorists soon to be detained to end this live, as they have been doing nonstop for 3 days, to obstruct, tamper, intimidate an FBI informant of their domestic terrorist organization and shield their domestic terrorism criminal conduct. 8:55 a.m. One domestic terrorist, Unit 207 to go to the other domestic terrorist base of operations, i.e. the North Everett precinct. All right, Nerd Squad saving this at 8:56 a.m. And following that, Nerd Squad is the preceding live stream's description, which was like 214, 7:23 a.m. Unit 207, responsible for more than one ingestion, is using the primary URL. Send one stream to the primary ingestion URL and one stream to the backup URL. 214, 1:56 a.m. North Everett Police Precinct officer drives over, enters Unit 207 to aid fellow domestic terrorists with terminating that live into any all through third break-in and their own detainment and arraignment. 214 midnight, Unit 207 plans break-in again with fellow domestic terrorist of North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County prosecutors et al. C-Full 213, 3 a.m. Police report addendum on Facebook.com/Mystic Gwen lives only you. This is not an operation. This is a criminal enterprise. And all of your actions met the legal threshold for you all to be marked domestic terrorist and a domestic terrorist organization in the month of August. So again, remember, if you do not hear an explicit end time and that the commencement of a new live stream will be occurring within 90 seconds or less, that I am not responsible. The domestic terrorist organization full of North Everett precinct officers, a couple of prosecutors, many child abusers that are working as child protectors, which is disgusting to myself and every man and woman at the FBI and in the Snohomish County. I mean, we all know. All of us know who you are, those of you that are going to prison. You're not getting away with anything. In some instances, all you DCYF employees, I don't know who the head is of your department, but there are people who know about what you really are that are excited for your detainment in to come and take your job.
He lives 1854 to 1942, and I'm very proud to be his grandson. I still have my home his tambour, the instrument he played.
Tambour is a kind of
Okay,
local-
Nerd Squad, I am copying the preceding live stream's title, minus obviously the date and time. And at 8:59 a.m., I am pasting that after the date and time of this video, and I'm pushing save Nerd Squad at 8:59 a.m.
While we were making this program, we were thrilled to find this gramophone record of Yusuf Igor, Benjamin's great-great-grandfather, playing and singing.
Now, I do want to point out to everybody, I'm not an employee of the FBI. I've only been authorized to state I am an informant. I also want to point out that the FBI had never desired to throw 27 people in prison.
By the French recording
Okay,
company.
remember, there were 27 people who were going to go to prison because of a few people, primarily those you keep taking authorizations and unlawful directives from, primarily, to begin with. There were 27 people that were facing going to prison, and the FBI was not happy about that. Thanks to whistleblowers, that number dropped down to 7, then went up to 9, then went back down to 7, then went up to 9, and has since, at last count per the FBI, reached 10 people who are going to prison for the rest of their lives. 10 individuals. Now, the FBI has had me tell you and file in writing, you are personally liable. There is no immunity. You are criminally liable as well. None of these are new things. These are things that they had me tell you before you hit the legal threshold and became a domestic terrorist organization due to a series of crimes you guys perpetrated in August without any legal pretext that is justifiable in any state within this whole wide country, and then criminally pretended like it was an operation. No legitimate operation, abuses children, kidnaps children, or does hundreds of counts of crimes you're all going to be going to prison for. Now, the FBI has said, and you've read it yourself, they intend to arrest you, officers, next month. But that can change based on your actions. The FBI has also had me relay to all of you weeks ahead of time, over a week ago, you were told, with the live streams from the FBI, there will be no leniency for anyone fucking with the live streams, i.e. obstructing justice, tampering with evidence, tampering with an FBI informant who reported your domestic terrorist organization a few months before you legally became one. That's all I have to say. But I know if I were any of you, I would leave the live streams alone. And quite frankly, let's be realistic, I would leave my phone and any electrical tracking device, even my vehicle at home, and I would haul ass down to the Seattle FBI field office with an old school tape recorder rolling in my fucking pocket by an old school overpriced taxi or a bike or the bus or some way that it will be hard to know exactly where it is that I am going. And I would get there before 11 a.m. because none of the top dogs are ever working on a Friday after 11, except for, of course, people that are prosecuting cases
We don't want to hear any of your shit because they want to be done with their cases and enjoy their weekend.
Nepathe, on an expedition to Central Asia in 1911, in the last years of the Bukharan Emirate.
Are we still connected at 9:03
In
a.m.?
the last years of the Bukharan Emirate.
Are we still connected at 9:03? We are. And Nerd Squad, with all of these live streams, I've really dropped the ball with like telling you how many videos are reflecting as public and testing the audio. I know that you haven't made a big deal about that, but I recognize that, so hopefully that will be an ongoing thing. And I am just now clicking on the channel. It reflects on the interface on the Lenovo ThinkPad that there are 260 videos set for public consumption at the moment.
Speak how they eat is more close to Muslims than German Jews, English Jews. European Jews is the same religions, but very, very different.
So when you heard your grandfather's voice on the recordings, how did you feel?
Oh, it's very touching feeling. It's like you hear history, you touch to the roots, and it's, I don't know, it's a miracle. You give me his voice, it's unbelievable.
Oh, anyway, I brought up the thing with March because in my mind, that tells me, paired with everything else, and this is speculation, it's connect the dots. I'm asserted and assumed, I'm speculating that the reason for all of those cautionary reminders was simply for the FBI to determine who blew the whistle and meant it, and who blew the whistle and didn't mean it, and is requesting to go to prison with some of those people that have been requesting it since March 2023, April 2023, etc.
Heartbeat of Central Asian music. Everyone's crowding round. Men in their shirt sleeves, women in bright silks, and children, lots of children. As he sings, Tolmasov does something very distinctive to Hakwani and to
And then remember, everybody makes mistakes, but I would certainly not keep making them because the FBI has literally had me tell you the same things, and yet so few of you listen. But then remember, over 50% of the people in Unit 207 had independently blown the whistle to the FBI. So what the hell have you been doing for the last 3 days? That's the thing. What have you been doing for the last 3 days? You've been showing that you do want to go to prison. That's what you've been doing.
Music and song.
And by those criminal actions, you are helping the handful of people that the FBI wants to arrest and put in prison. That's the kicker. If everyone had really followed the law and their job and the federal requirements of their job, there would literally only be 4 or 5 individuals going to prison. That's the kicker. Instead, in September, there were 27 people facing that fate.
If you speak
And again, last I was told, the number went up to 10 last month, January. After going down to 7, then up to 9, then down to 7. Last count I was told was 10 individuals. What is it after the last 3 days? I have no idea.
The singers he admired so much, like Tolmasov, were household names in Muslim and Jewish homes alike through the 20th century. You can feel that cultural connection in this recording. It's another wedding, but this one's in Kokand in the east of Uzbekistan, closer to China. The star performer this time is Rahimahon Mazahidova. The party is Muslim and she's singing in Uzbek. The bride has appeared to greet her guests, lifting her gauzy white veil to each one. It's a ritual known as Kalin Salon, marking her entry into her new home and her new life. Rahima Horn plays the frame drum, the doira. She's free to improvise, blending religious tradition and folklore as she wishes.
East music much more free. It's like a tree. You have thousands of leaves on the tree, but every leaf is different. When you perform the same piece second time, it's never the same.
You can be Danilo, that's my name. So in our neighborhood, everybody will see. Each door you will go, you will find a spot.
Yuhan grew up in a musical Jewish family in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. Tashkent was full of different cultures in those days. Central Asian peoples, of course, Russians, but also Armenians and Greeks, Georgians and Koreans, and many more.
My grandmother used to sing and my grandfather used. My grandfather was unbelievable. My grandfather, Daniel, he was great performer of Hakon. I learned from the 3 years, with my grandfather, 6, 7 years old.
The 1970s brought new ingredients to this rich musical soup.
When I was 12 or 13, so we are young kids, was listening Pink Floyd, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, was with a big binocular, we was watching United States of America, England, the West. It was fascinating for us.
This is the documentary from the BBC World Service.
Before taking your next flight, you'll need to be prepared. Start off with a visit to realidwa.com.
New ID requirements for travel go into effect on May 7th, 2025.
There are multiple forms of ID you can use.
Whatever option you choose, make sure you have it with you before heading to the airport.
That way, you can travel stress-free.
Don't wait. Prepare today so we can fly together. It's your final boarding call for Real ID. Visit realidwa.com.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years, and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Science is done by people who constantly expect the unexpected.
That thing that we couldn't figure out, we figured it out. But now you're like, okay, this is like a whole other can of worms.
Unexpected Elements brings you the most unexpected bits.
At the origin of the lightning discharge, we have a temperature which is even higher than the surface of the sun.
Unexpected Elements from the BBC World Service.
It's not Jurassic Park, is it?
It's Cretaceous Park. All of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park came from the Cretaceous period.
Search for
Also, guys, the FBI says they know exactly how you've been criminally and illegally terminating my YouTube live streams, and it's correlated to the fact that you've prevented me from creating any new YouTube channels on any devices with any other valid email address since August.
Taking their chances in parts of the world they felt some connection to.
You are going
Greeks
to
went to Greece,
prison.
the Germans
You are
to
not
Germany,
part of a
the Chechens
legitimate
went to
operation.
Chechnya.
You are part of an
And the
aggravated
Jews
criminal
too,
conspiracy,
sold
a
out and
domestic
left the
terrorist
neighborhoods that have been home
organization,
for hundreds
and
of years.
every police officer,
I lived in Central
social
Asia in
worker,
the
and
1990s,
co-conspirator
reporting
of
for
yours
BBC.
that I
And I
reported in
remember my Bukhari Jewish
2017,
neighbours arranging
except
their
for one
household belongings
person,
in the road to
is
sell.
part of your
They didn't
domestic
really want to
terrorist
go. They just hoped,
organization
believed,
and
that it might
aggravated
work out
criminal
better for the kids.
conspiracy. This
I
is
still
why
have
some
their
of you
little
have been under
painted with
surveillance
blue and orange
since
flowers.
March
And I do hope
2023.
things worked out for them in Tel Aviv.
And it is also why the FBI absolutely has full jurisdictional
Johan
authority.
Benyaminov knew exactly where he was heading.
Because you perpetrated
I was
all
27 years old.
but two
When I came
of
to
the
United
threats
States of
that
America,
they
people was
made.
There was open, there was friendly.
And they're your co-conspirators, your
That's the
former
freedom,
commanding
that's the
officers,
power.
your, yeah,
It
the
was
list goes
magic
on.
time when I came. That's how it.
The Bukharans stuck together, mainly in New York in the borough of Queens. Among them were some of the most famous Jewish musicians from all across Central Asia. They were much in demand.
We don't have our own theater. We don't have our own TV or radio station. So what do we have? The only one place where we can meet each other, it's a weddings.
You're also
or
going to be
funeral.
charged for every intercepted email. Everything you've been doing with nothing but fraudulent criminal orders since your first day on the job in this
nothing with us.
domestic terrorist organization.
Everybody move out.
This criminal enterprise. This
Nina Maida Khan,
aggravated
celebrated
criminal
singer,
conspiracy
left Uzbekistan
that would have
with her
only
whole
resulted
family,
in 4 or 5
including her
individuals that
elderly
are of no
mother,
relation to
Belur.
me going to prison,
Born in
but over
1911,
40
Belur
something
had
of you
performed
volunteered to
at
go to
Port
prison
Bukhara
on
since
their
she was a
behalf.
child. Her long hair plaited into 120
As
narrow
recently
braids
as the
that
preceding
swung as
live
she
stream.
moved.
My mother used to dance all around. My mother had a beautiful voice and she was very famous many years.
In New York, in old age, Belur continued to dance and sing, but the 120 plaits were gone. She adapted to the new world.
She was wearing the heels, lipstick, and singing that time before she passed away.
Then Nina sang Hakoni for us in honor of her mother, a lament that starts, "Mother, dear to my heart, what should I do now without you?"
Mother'ım can dilem Bişmo cihan ra çıknım Hamame ram başmoyu Mandi deron ra çıknım Manager gul boşmu
During that prayers, we using melodies, which is Bukharian, Tajik, and Uzbek. Still, in community synagogues, we still singing that. I think Hakoni, it's a unique mix. It's like a jazz.
And unaccompanied, improvised, sorrowful sometimes, maybe we could say, a kind of blues.
If I'm singing, Father John, Shulayiru Yishmara Azgujayavan, my lovely father, where I'm going to find the contours of your face. Karargohi Sarikuyi Yishmara Azgujayavan. He's saying, where I'm going to find the smell of your hair, smell of your hands. Me, I still remember, my father is alive, my mother's alive, but I still remember the smell of his hands. It's always was fish, which is he loved, and beer, which he drink after work, and kerosene, because he used to work in the factory. And this smell I remember.
And since you moved to America, what's happened to the music? How has it changed?
We have respect for our own music, but right now, much younger generation, they don't hear at all of Bukharian songs. Hakoni only reminds them of the sad days, the funerals. Please do not sing.
So does that mean that young girls now are not learning to sing?
We don't have almost nobody female who can sing Akoni like I sing.
We was very Bukharian. Now we're American Bukharian. We used to be Bukharian American. Now we are American Bukharian. It's a good and not good for us. We assimilate. We assimilate very fast. We're addicted to West.
I hear and remember still what was happened in Bukhara, and try to keep this tradition.
It's 30 years since Benjamin Yusupov, musician and composer, left Tajikistan, half a lifetime ago. He lives in Tel Aviv now and is composer in residence of the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra. Some years ago, he was asked to compose a special piece after the death of a well-known Bukharan Jewish businessman in New York.
He decided to compose a hakoni, but not as anyone had heard it before. He used voice, the Central Asian instruments he grew up with, and European strings and woodwind.
Hakone is so strong, so, how to say it, very, very expressive. I wanted to bring together crossroads between Jews and Muslims, between modern and history, between tonality and harsh sounds, between the life and sound from the past. Also, some crossing between Western music and Eastern music. I'm proud that I can to continue this tradition of Hakoni, maybe in some more modern form. I'm very happy that I just continue some chain of our culture.
Johan and Nina are adding links to that chain too.
She will sing.
Nina still performs at weddings and funerals, her powerful voice filling halls of hundreds of people. And Johan too, pop, traditional, Hakoni, in Tajik, Russian, Uzbek, he sings them all. And Johan is opening a Bukharan radio station. He plans to broadcast the old songs with new translations to reach the new generation. So listen out if you're in New York.
You know, since I'm here, I never go back. I'm here almost 47 years. My family live in Israel, most of them, and my kids, my children, my great-grandchildren. I have 5 of them, and we all live here.
So where is home for you?
I think my home is here, America. I love it.
And Johan, what does he enjoy when he goes, not home maybe, but back?
Day before yesterday, I asked myself, I enjoyed the hospitality of the people. Very easy and very polite atmosphere. I enjoyed that our cemetery is still alive, and I enjoyed that the Muslim people they still respect us and they keep our bodies in their land.
A lot of the community have left now, but why have you stayed?
من میکنم موقع سوال من به اینجا گنده نیم که وصل محبت دستشیمون نقص.
The reason I stayed in Bukhara, it suits me here. We still have good relations with everyone, thank God.
أنا ما بيبروز كل خطر همين برا ماشي كابنا مثلا هما كابرام سلام عليكم.
Muslims respect us. For example, when I walk in the street, no one remarks on it. Everyone greets me. Aka Abraham, salam alaikum. If I had 2 lives, I might go over there to live my second life. But a human being comes to this world once. I have been Abram Borisovich here for 74 years. When would I become Abram Borisovich over there? How long would it take for them to know me? It suits me here. What else do I need?
هزاران پولی تنگ داری هزاران سیموزد داری به پیش من حیرانی
You who have heaps of riches, You who have piles of gold, in the face of death you are undone.
حیرانی در سرت تاج کلام داری پادشاهی جهان هستی در پیشی
You may wear the finest crown on your head. You may be king of all the world. When death calls, you are undone.
چون سلیمان با عقل و ادراک هستی
You may be like the strong Samson, like Solomon, knowing and wise, in the face of death, undone.
چون طاووس رفتار داری چون بلبل آواز داری
You can walk like a peacock, have the voice of a nightingale, but in the face of death, undone. Know it, my friends, believe it. Life is a gift soon spent. Let us treasure our time together.
You've been listening to the documentary from the BBC World Service. In The Caretaker of Bukhara, Paul Balmer at Music on Earth Productions made the recording of Rahimahon Mazahidova in Kokand. The presenter and producer was Monica Whitlock.
I'm Sarah Trelevin, and for over a year, I've been working on one of the most complex stories I've ever covered.
There was somebody out there who's faking pregnancies.
I started warning everybody. Every doula that I know,
It was fake.
no pregnancy. And the deeper I dig, the more questions I unearth.
How long has she been doing this?
What does she have to gain from this? From CBC and the BBC World Service, The Con, Caitlin's Baby.
It's a long story. Settle in.
Available now.
It's hard not to add a side of hot, crispy hash browns to your favorite McDonald's breakfast. It's even harder not to eat said hash browns before you get home. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years, and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Equals B. Well, look what the cat dragged in. Thanks for stopping by, friend. Here for another taste of the fantastical, I suppose. You've picked a good day for a nightmare. I've got a small collection of objects. Just came in for you a few hours ago. For the first, a framed photo of a lovely couple on what looks to be a beach vacation somewhere. A happy memory, frozen in time. But as we know, just like time, happiness can be rather fleeting, can't it? This one's called, I got a voicemail from my wife. She died 10 years ago. Before we begin, I want to point out some of the customers whose names have been etched in brass on this beautiful plaque I had made above the front desk. These are some of the members of the inner circle of the antiquarium. We go by the Obsidian Covenant. Recent initiates include Bradley Trapp, Sasha Mueller-Brown, Danielle O'Connor, Shavonte Robinson, Sujin Johnson, Jared Cruz, Stephen Reel, Terrence Stevens, and Daniel Mass. We are ever appreciative of your devotion to the Order. Go to theobsidiancovenant.com to receive the sacrament. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Welcome to the antiquarium of sinister happenings and odd goings on.
I got a voicemail from my wife. She died 10 years ago. When the first voicemail came, I was in the middle of eating dinner, mindlessly flipping through the news on TV. The screen of my phone lit up, and I barely noticed it. Spam calls were part of my daily routine. But this time, it wasn't a scam. It was a voicemail from a number I hadn't seen in over a decade. It was from her.
Hi, it's me. I know this is gonna sound strange, but I need you to listen carefully. You can't trust him.
I mean, the voice was unmistakable. It was Lauren, my wife. The woman I buried 10 years ago. I dropped my fork, the clatter making me jump. For a second, I thought maybe it was a prank. Some cruel scammer who'd found her voice on old videos I'd foolishly uploaded to social media, using AI or something. But then I listened again. There was something about the way she spoke. The cadence, the inflection, the breathiness at the end of her words. It wasn't just Lauren's voice. It was her. She'd been dead for 10 years. Lauren had been my everything. When she died, I was a husk of myself, wandering through days I can barely recall. A car accident took her from me, quick and brutal. The driver was never found. And now, her voice. It was impossible. The voicemail was time-stamped only a minute before I played it. And when I tried to call the number back, it rang to nothingness. No dial tone, no voicemail box. Just an endless void. I listened to the message again and again, the words embedding themselves into my mind.
You can't trust him.
Who? Trust who? What was she warning me about? The next day at work, I was distracted. Every buzz of my phone made me jump. Every voice in the office sounded like hers. By lunchtime, I couldn't take it anymore. I just drove home. I needed to listen to it again. Maybe find something I'd missed. But the message was gone. Not deleted, just gone. As though it had never existed. No call log, no voicemail history. My heart sank. Maybe I was losing it. Maybe grief had crept back in, a decade late, gnawing at my sanity. That's when the second voicemail came. I froze. My heart thundered as I glanced around my living room. It was daylight, the sun streaming in through the windows. Nothing seemed out of place. but the sense of being watched. I grabbed my keys and bolted. I drove aimlessly for hours, Lauren's voice playing over and over in my head. By the time I returned home, it was dark, and the house felt different. The air was heavy, charged, like the moments before a thunderstorm. And then I noticed the picture frame on the mantle. It was Lauren's favorite photo of us, taken on our honeymoon. I'd smashed it years ago in a fit of grief. The shards of glass long since swept away. But now, it was back. Whole. Perfect. I was shaking as I approached it. My breath caught when I saw the note tucked behind the frame.
He's in the basement.
Adrenaline surged as I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and crept down the stairs. The basement was cold and damp, the single bulb casting long, eerie shadows. At first, I saw nothing, just old boxes and a faint smell of mildew. But then, I noticed the corner. The shadows didn't line up. I stepped closer, my breath hitching. The air seemed to hum. And for a second, I thought I heard whispering. When I reached the corner, I found nothing but a mirror. It hadn't been there before. The reflection wasn't mine. Lauren's face stared back at me, her eyes wide with terror. Her lips moved silently, forming words I couldn't hear. My knees buckled as the mirror seemed to ripple, the glass warping as though she was pressing against it from the other side. Then, the whisper started. I bolted, slamming the basement door behind me. My mind was racing, my pulse deafening in my ears. I couldn't make sense of it. Lauren's warnings, the mirror, the voicemails, nothing fucking made sense. None of it felt real. That's when my phone buzzed. Another voicemail.
It's too late. He's already inside.
Till death do us part. The bright side is, at least Lauren and her hubby can live forever in unholy matrimony. Now, for your next trip into purgatory, a black notebook that holds some rather dark secrets. Time